is Leland McFarland with Small Business Trends, and you have arrived at the Small Business Spotlight, where we like to shine a light on all the news, events, deals, and interesting stories a small business owner well, might be interested in. So I've been away for like a month, and as you can see, it's a little different, a little messy. I tried to put on one of those virtual backgrounds, but for whatever reason, the software I'm trying to use didn't want to use it, and I didn't really want to see the mess. But I've been in the middle of a move, and it's been quite chaotic. And unfortunately, at the moment, fortunately, I got a place to stay. But unfortunately, it's at my mother-in-law's house, and we're all kind of squeezed in here, and well, got a little bit of a mess. But I'm back. It's been about a month since I've done one of these, and it's mainly been because I've not really had a really good permanent office, and I just kind of got everything established, and even got myself like a little bit of internet. I mean, you kind of see the box over there of Starlink. Was able to get that at Walmart, interestingly enough, and just hook it up and ready to go. And so it's been an interesting, frustrating process, but it's good to be able to do one of these and talk a little bit small business. All right, so let's get into the news. Let's make that a slideshow. All right. I like this layout a little bit better. All right, let's start off with a little news from the SBA. So, the U.S. Small Business Administration has launched a new $6 million grant competition aimed at supporting women entrepreneurs by modernizing its Women Business Center (WBC) program. This program is especially important for women starting and growing businesses in areas where resources have been limited. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler emphasized that the initiative aims to provide better resources in regions with significant business growth, ultimately helping to create jobs and strengthen communities. States like Texas and Florida, which are seeing a rise in women-owned businesses, will receive the most funding, over $2 million for Texas and $1.5 million for Florida. Other states included for support are Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Tennessee, and West Virginia. The grants are available to nonprofit organizations that provide essential counseling, training, and support for women-owned businesses, and these groups need to show they can manage finances effectively. While the initiative seeks to bridge the gap in support for women entrepreneurs, applicants must submit detailed proposals by the August 10th, 2026 deadline. There are challenges as the competition for grants can be tough, and businesses in states not receiving funding may struggle to find resources. To help potential applicants, the SBA will hold webinars on July 28th and August 4th. This program would significantly enhance opportunities for women entrepreneurs in underserved states, making it easier for them to start and grow businesses. For more information on these grants, go visit the SBA website. So this is going to be really great for women-owned businesses, and it's not necessarily grants per se directly for women-owned businesses, but it's helping nonprofits that work with women-owned businesses to be able to help them start their business and be able to get out there and start earning. I like this initiative, and so if you're one of those nonprofits that help women-owned businesses, check out the SBA's website and apply for that grant. I hope you get it. All right. In a recent move to support small businesses, the U.S. House Committee on Education and the Workforce has advanced the HEAT Workforce Standards Act, aimed at preventing a proposed OSHA HEAT standard from the Biden administration. The National Federation of Independent Businesses backs this legislation, arguing that new federal heat regulations could impose heavy burdens on small businesses, possibly forcing them to close or merge with larger companies. NFIB's Director of Federal Government Regulations, Dylan Rosnick, stressed that small businesses already work hard to ensure employee safety and that overly strict regulations could create compliance challenges that are too costly for them. With 50 trade associations supporting the NFIB's letter to Congress, there's a shared concern that such regulations could hinder job creators across the country. The Heat Workforce Standards Act seeks to eliminate these regulatory pressures, allowing small business owners to focus on operational efficiency and their workers' safety without being bogged down by complex compliance issues. However, critics argue that reducing safety regulations may risk workers' rights and health. Debate continues. Small business owners are encouraged to stay informed about both proposed OSHA standards and the Heat Workforce Safety Act to advocate for their interests effectively. They can find useful resources on NFIB's official website to help understand the regulatory landscape and manage the implications of these potential changes. OSHA has some good things. Any kind of regulation comes with extra steps, though. So there could be a point at which too much regulation can become a bit of an issue. And yeah, it's really easy for bigger companies to be able to manage all of those because you can actually hire a dedicated person who's watching out for those, where a small business owner, you got the guy who has 10 hats trying to add that onto their burden. And it just really depends. I would love to be able to see the data behind this and see how many people are being affected and how many people by like heat related issues and how many people, would this save potentially. Is there this rampant issue with people, being severely injured because of heat issues? I don't know. And what about like the businesses that work outdoors, construction, roofing? Those are really heat intensive jobs, and a lot of times that stuff is done during the summer, which heat is at its hottest, of course. And so, what is it going to do to those industries? Is it going to really hurt them, or is it going to be very beneficial to the employees? Because if all of a sudden work starts drying up because, well, we can't go out there because it's too hot, it's going to hurt those employees too. So, all right. In a major crackdown on pandemic relief fraud, the U.S. Small Business Administration has suspended 7,800 borrowers in Wisconsin due to connections with $375 million in suspected fraud involving the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, and COVID Economic Injury Disaster Loans, EIDL loans. The action is part of a broader investigation across multiple states aimed at defending taxpayer funds and ensuring these relief programs truly benefit legitimate small businesses. Small Business Administrator Kelly Loeffler stated that this suspension will prevent these borrowers from accessing future loans and funding opportunities through SBA programs, impacting those who rely on these resources for growth and recovery. So far, similar actions have affected over 150,000 borrowers in other states, totaling around $10 billion in suspected fraudulent loans. With these investigations, the SBA aims to protect the integrity of relief funds and curb fraud that undermines support for honest business owners. The agency has even referred over 560,000 suspected fraudulent cases involving $22 billion in loans to the U.S. Department of Treasury for collection. As the SBA continues to work, small business owners continues its work, small business owners are urged to stay informed and meticulous about their applications. Understanding eligibility requirements and maintaining transparent records is crucial for accessing necessary support. So I'm always for getting rid of fraud. I think that if people are doing fraudulent loans or something to that, to actually start handing out harsher consequences, then well, you don't get an SBA loan, or any kind of money through the SBA. I would start at potential litigation and jail time and paying back restitution, and they're doing that to a certain extent with the Treasury, but you're hearing it a lot in the news. There's a lot of government money that's being doled out to organizations, whether it's Medicare fraud or these COVID frauds or daycare fraud, and I'm just all for the government really cracking down on this because if we don't need to pay out that money, then that's less of a tax burden for me and everyone else out there. I'd love to see it getting cracked down a little bit more. Let's go hard on this. NFIB survey. So, in a recent economic news, the small business owners are feeling a sense of renewed optimism. The NFIB Small Business Optimism Index, released July 14th, shows an increase in optimism, rising 2.1 points in June to reach 97.4, close to its historical average of 98. This increase reflects a better expectation for business conditions and sales in the future. Bill Dunklenberg, the chief economist at NFIB, points out that while lower fuel prices provide some relief, high interest rates and slow economic growth still pose a challenge for business owners, particularly concerning hiring and investments. Notably, 32% of small businesses report having unfilled job openings, a rise of 3 percentage points since May. Encouragingly, 11% of owners plan to expand their workforce in the next 3 months. However, inflation remains the biggest concern, with 21% of owners identifying it as their main challenge. Many businesses are raising prices, which they have done for 4 straight months. Yet some signs suggest inflation may be easing as the number of owners planning price increases have decreased. Looking ahead, 13% of owners are optimistic about better business conditions in the next 6 months, and intentions to invest in equipment have also risen. Despite these positive indicators, higher interest rates still have many cautious about borrowing, with only 22% taking on new debt. So, one thing that I've heard within the news is that the feds are thinking about increasing the interest rates again, and that's going to potentially even make things worse when it comes to people borrowing. I've also that though could help curb inflation a little bit more, be able to bring that down. So you're bad in one, good in the other. I think that we're at an okay stage. We're not in any kind of distress. We're not in any kind of recession. We're not kind of, we have a war going on. Fuel prices are a bit on the high side, but they're not like $6 a gallon, $7 a gallon, or anything like that. So, well, unless you're in California, but that's another thing. But I think we're doing okay. Hopefully, just ride the course, ride it out. All right. In a recent survey from CNBC and SurveyMonkey, 64% of American adults reports feeling financially squeezed due to the rising inflation and cost of living. This economic pressure is causing small business owners to rethink their strategies as customer spending patterns change. The survey shows that many Americans are prioritizing essential purchases over non-essential items, which means small businesses need to adapt their products and marketing to meet demand for value and necessity. Small business owners can benefit from strategies like offering bundled pricing on essentials and loyalty programs to attract budget conscious shoppers. However, they must be cautious with discounts as they can diminish perceived product value. Understanding customer preferences is also crucial, and gathering feedback can help improve services and products. Younger consumers, especially those aged 14 to 34, face the most financial pressure and are open to spending when they see significant savings. This dramatic preference highlights the importance of community-focused marketing strategies. Additionally, as larger purchases become less appealing, small businesses should carefully manage their inventory and cash flow. I love the idea of being able to put in a rewards program because anymore now it used to be just like the big chains, it's the Safeway thing, or Fred Meyer's. You'd have the club card or something to that effect. But anymore now, the software that's going out there has these kind of programs built into them. I know I was looking at Zoho's new POS system, and it has loyalty programs involved into that. So it's a good way to be able to retain your customers a little bit better. Give them that incentive to be able to come in, be able to check out what the sales are, the deals are, and be able to earn a little bit of points that they could use towards for future purchases, and also maybe even get a little bit of insight into what certain customers are buying together or anything like that. So yeah, I definitely go out. It's sad that people are, I've always been the kind of person that goes and looks for a deal, but it's kind of sad that people are kind of going into that mindset kind of perpetually. Speaking of deals, first up we have a refurbished Latitude 7340 touchscreen laptop. This has 3 gigs of RAM, a 512 gig hard drive, and a processor that's just about 3 years old, I think, when I looked it up. And for $539, there are other options. If you want something a little more dinged up, that's exactly the same specs, you could save yourself $100. But if you want grade A quality product, then I mean you can't beat $540 for a laptop like this. This will get you. This will maintain its value for a good while and keep a good strong Windows. For a good couple of years, something that you wouldn't need to upgrade after a while. Next up, we have an office chair. Now, I found this. Now, it says it's $138.99, but there's a $35 coupon if you use the coupon code AFFHF25. And, I mean, it looks really nice, and it's meant for big and tall individuals. Can hold up to 500 pounds. So if you want to be able to get a chair like this, I mean, if I needed a chair, I'd probably grab this. But this is doing good for me right now. But if you want that, I'll have a link in the description for this chair. Woot is also having a deal, and it's also on refurbished laptops from Dell. And so there's multiple deals out there, and some pretty good options if you want something a little bit cheaper than the $500 option that I showed before. But yeah, Dell has some pretty good refurbished laptops. So if you're interested, go check out Woot. I'll again have the link in the description. And finally, from Amazon, we have a standing desk. It's a limited time offer, so I don't know how long you got to be able to go in and get this, but for $95, you can get yourself a pretty good sized standing desk, and if you want them in different colors, a little bit more. So if you're in the market for a nice standing desk, give this a shot. All right, on to the next segment, our Reddit stories. Oh, employee quitting. We're a small but growing repair business. We had an employee text us this morning and gave his 2 weeks notice. The reason he said is because he knows how much we make and he feels like we're disrespecting him with his pay. Yesterday alone, he made $540. Are you taking applications? That's an insane amount of money. It is very typical of him at the end of the week to be making $1,500 to $2,400. We're very fair with our pay, and it's above average for this area in the US. It's not his business how much we, the owners, make or how much profit we make on parts, etc. And he probably fails to see the hidden costs such as overhead, taxes, and financial risks. I feel like I do not owe him any explanation, and I want to respond and I don't want to respond, no, and I want to respond in a sarcastic slash, I think he wrote that wrong, or defensive way, but I have refrained. Any suggestions on how to handle this? Let him go and find the next person, because if you're paying that much money, you're going to probably find some good quality individuals to be able to work for you. I mean, if you're talking like the minimum there, $1,500, that's around $6,000 a month to $2,400 a month. You're looking at 48, almost like $10,000 a month. I mean, that's a lot of money to be able to bring in. That's insane that he's scoffing at that. I mean, good luck to him to try to find another place that's going to pay him that much, because I don't think he's going to get it because that's some really good money. Now, I mean, yes, when you're running a business, there are always going to be financial risks. There's insurance that you need to do, paying buildings, maintaining vehicles, those kinds of costs that he may not be privy to. And so you can sit down with him and you can actually lay it out and say, look, I'm not getting, if we're making $1,000 on a job and I'm giving you $300 for that job, I'm not getting immediately $700 put into my bank account. I've got to pay for all of this, and then maybe at the end of the day I'm getting $200, or maybe you are making $400, $500 off of him. It doesn't matter though, because you're putting in the risk. If he wants all that money, he can go and open a business himself. I want to start a consulting / project management business. For context, I'm an independent contractor / freelancer with multiple clients making mid-high six figures. That's a lot. I specialized in IT transformation and infrastructure project / programs with over 10 years of experience. I enjoy being an independent contractor and genuinely love the work I do. I've been thinking for a while about taking the next step in building a small business focused on providing clients with talented project managers / consultants. The issue is that I don't think that I want to do this alone. I'm spending most of my days focusing on clients and need to maintain status quo to fund the next endeavor. I'm considering the idea of a joint venture / partnership to help. Any thoughts, recommendations? So if you're wanting to basically bring on more clients, to be able to bring on more employees, to be able to service those clients, the one thing that I would probably do is start with like hiring a junior that can do a lot of your busy work. That way you're able to do the high level stuff, and the lower level stuff is something that they can do. And as they grow in experience, they'll be able to get more and more and more onto their plate and less on your plate. And then eventually you could bring on another junior and then hire them to be able to do more of the tasks. That way you're meeting with the clients, you're giving the final product, and you have your juniors who you're mentoring. This isn't just I'm going to get an intern who doesn't know that, you hire someone who's in the industry but is new to it. That way you're mentoring them, you're building them up, and out of that they're getting all this experience, and then you're getting them to do a lot of the busy work, a lot of the the work that takes time, and then you're doing the face to face with customers, and eventually, after a while, after you've built them up a little more, then they're starting to do face to face with customers, and then all of a sudden they're soloing customers because you've built them up. That's the best thing to do. Being bogged down with customers is not going to be the best. You doing the actual grunt work is not going to be the best place to put your money. So that's my 2 cents. That's my thought process. How do you figure out what's actually wrong with your business when you can't afford a $5,000 consultant? I've been thinking about it a lot, talking to a few owners lately who all have the same feeling: something's off, growth has stalled, margins are weird, whatever. But they can't pin down what, and a real strategist, strategist is a way to find out reach cost wise. Curious how people here handle it. Do you just wing it? Ask other owners? Is there something you actually use to get real diagnostic, or is it just a gut feel? So I went to the comment sections, and a lot of people are saying get a score mentor and find someone who is willing to do it just for free. There's a lot out there that are wanting to just be mentors and be able to bring up the next generation, and they can that's a good way to get an outside appearance. I like the idea of talking to other business owners, having someone come in and say, show them around, be like, this is my operation, and have them go, oh well, there's some inefficiencies here, you can clean up this. Always having fresh perspective, whether it's from SCORE or from other business owners who are your friends. That's a good option. The other option is talk to your customers. I have a friend, Eva Taylor, she's always saying this: talk to your customers, whether it's through surveys, whether it's just one-on-one. Talk to them and get their insight, get their information, because they're going to be the ones that are willing to be able to say, look, I loved it, but I didn't love this. Fix this, and I'm going to be really happy. So, yeah, talk to your customers. Get a mentor. Talk to other business owners. All right, this one was interesting. Made a horrible mistake, and I am having panic attacks about my situation. Without going into great detail, I recently moved my business and made a horrible mistake. I signed a 3-year lease with a personal guarantee. We are just moved in the new location, and I already know it's going to fail. I'm freaking out. Has anybody else been in this situation? I'm still shuffling money into this place to get it built out, and I'm feeling like I'm putting good money after bad. I don't know a way out, and I need someone who's been in this situation to help me out. So someone asked, was your business successful before? Why did the move happen? And why is it going to fail now? What industry is this? It was successful. I bought it a few years back and had been in place for decades, and we were doing okay at the old location. The move happened because I was going to be forced out by the landlord of the old location with a very little notice, and had been told this: I'd rather keep the industry to myself, so it's not too out. It's not to out myself, but it is a retail space. Why is it going to fail? What's going on with this new location? Multiple factors. I made a horrible miscalculation on the size of the space. I went from 2,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet and thought, super duper, I would be able to host more inventory, increase sales. But I didn't factor into the ceiling height and the fact that the new location has nooks and crannies and walls which break the space up and make it hard to host more inventory. And in the fact that we are able to actually host less than I did in the old place. It was a horrible mistake. So basically he's having an issue where he's going from one place to the next place. It isn't about foot traffic or anything like that. It's about being able to host inventory. Well, most retail spaces, I mean, unless this person has specifically said you don't get to change a dang thing, usually retail spaces allow you pretty good flexibility to be able to change the store space as much as possible. You're not going to really get away from that ceiling height issue, but you could potentially remove a lot of those nooks and crannies and put up a lot more just basic shelving. Grab it from the old location. Start grabbing shelving from the old location and put it into the, remove those nooks and crannies and put it in, and you might be able to increase the space. It'll probably be a little bit more close to what you had before, but yeah, modify it, change it into your own aesthetic too. This is a good way to be able to update things and modernize things too. Is it worth it to drive an hour each to save $80? I own a small business, and sometimes the orders are close enough to me that I'll deliver them myself to save on shipping and increase my profit margins. The drive is about 1 hour each way for this order. I currently have an order. Someone paid $225. The cost to me of the product adds up to $75. If I deliver it myself, the profit is $150. If I pay to deliver it, the cost of the box, the CC fee, and my profits are $70. The item weighs about 25 pounds and is fairly big, so that's why it costs so much to ship. It's mostly back roads, 50 mile an hour. I own a Tesla, so no gas, mostly wear and tear on the vehicle. I think I should deliver it myself, or just ship it. So I guess at this point, if it's 1 hour each way, that's $40 an hour that you're making essentially profit. So I guess is your time worth $40 an hour? That's always the thing that you got to kind of look at. What is your time worth? What can you do with those 2 hours that you wouldn't be able, what can you do with those 2 hours that you're now missing out on when it comes to, or is this like 2 hours of you being alone in a car and being able to relax, and it's therapeutic for you? I mean, there's a cost to that too. So it's all about which direction you go. Also factor in, it's not just $80 an hour. You spend, if you're talking about an hour drive, 50 miles an hour, so you're talking about 50 miles each way, so it's about 100 miles. That could be tax write-off. You got the IRS mileage calculator, so that's about $70, give or take, that you're going to be able to do as a tax write-off for each delivery. So take that also into consideration. It's not like you're getting that $70 back into your pocket, but it does lower your tax burden a little bit. So yeah, hopefully that, it's all about what your time is worth, and if you enjoy the time, I'd say go for it. That is all I have for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming in. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I could always get a good like. If you came across this naturally and you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. And if at any point you thought, oh man, that wasn't what I would have done, there's a comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the stories or the news or the deals. And until next time, have a good day.